Hello everyone, this is Keirnoth, long time no see. I'm going to be going back to finishing off my Devil May Cry 4 tutorial, this time for Dante. Um, the part of the reason why I didn't, um, you know, do this earlier is mainly because Dante is a very complex character. Compared to his counterpart, Nero, Nero only has like three things you gotta worry about: his Devil Trigger, his Devil Bringer, his Red Queen, and his Blue Rose. Pretty much, once you figure out how to use those things, then you can just put those things together, and bam, you figure out the basics for Nero. Dante, on the other hand, is a completely different beast. As many of you guys know, when you guys play Dante, and if you probably ran into the same quote shock that I did when I tried to play Dante after playing Nero for like 11, 12 missions. He is really hard to use, and I know most of my some of my subscribers already figured him out, and they're just trying to get some other tips that um, they could use in their own gameplay. But for someone who's completely new to the Devil May Cry series, and in this generation of gamers who prefer to play games that allow them to just dive right in and just start playing, um, Dante will come as a kind of a culture shock to them because Dante, despite what a lot of people think, has maintained a lot of its complexity from Devil May Cry 3. Um, uh, what they did, rather than allow him to keep everything, is to basically tone down each of his some of his move sets, but just allow him to just switch so freely between all of them to make him this, in my opinion, a more complete character. So I know I had friends who were complaining to me that once they try to play Devil May Cry 4 Dante, they're kind of going, oh man, I miss being able to do this. I miss being able to wall run and Trickster. I miss being able to do all these crazy combos with Agni and Rudra and being able to use all these other weapons. But the flip side is, if the reason why they kind of limited your weapon selection was because of the fact that he has so much freedom of choice now. He's able to switch between styles, switch between three weapons instead of just two, and basically be able to have an answer to almost every situation that's out there. That's part of the reason why he's a bit daunting for new players, because of the fact that it's not laid out for you what you should be doing as Dante. So therefore that's the reason why I'm making this basic guide for him, because he's he's a pretty complex character, and in my opinion, he's the more fun character to play. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because he's so complex and there's so much to cover, is to split it up into three sections. So I'm gonna be releasing three separate videos, and this will allow me to gather my thoughts and make everything a little bit more organized for you guys. First section will be a list of all of Dante's basic moves and the properties, and when I think you should be using them over other times. So um, these basic moves can be done in any mode as long as you have the weapon equipped. And also, I'm assuming that you guys already have everything unlocked. So if you guys already bought everything. If you don't, then consider this guide as kind of a preview as to what to expect when you go through the game and unlock their skills. But for all intents and purposes, this is assuming you have everything unlocked. I know there's many people who actually did, like, I guess, skill runs where everything is like they do it with all the basic skills. And for me, I feel kind of, I don't know, it just feels like you're not playing Devil May Cry 4 if you're not playing with everything that the game gives you. But props to people who actually do those kind of runs. I've actually seen some really skilled runs done by people like that. So but for people like me, I prefer to just play with everything unlocked. Um, so after I explain the basic moves, my second section will involve the extra moves that you get if you use specific modes, and also all the other moves that you can get. For example, what stuff you can do in Trickster, stuff you can do in Royal Guard mode, stuff like that. So, and then my third section will involve just miscellaneous stuff that's specific to Dante. General strategies on how to play him, what you should do. Being able to quick style switch, being able to quick weapon switch. Maybe some suggested combos, and also how to do distorted moves. Most importantly, the one that I use a lot, which is the distorted real impact. A lot of pros actually kind of frown upon using distorted real impacts on people because it's once you figure out how to do it, it's really really broken. But hey, that's part of the game. I try to. I can't say that. I'm not gonna say I'm the best at this game. I'm far from it. But I like to use what the game gives me, and the starter real impacts are really really good. And I'll try to teach you guys how to use it so that you too can use that as a quick way to kill monsters. Okay, so anyway, with that intro finish, I'm gonna proceed on to the breakdown of the basic weapons. So the first weapon the weapons I'm gonna cover first are the melee weapons. So I'm gonna be covering Rebellion right now. So in Devil May Cry 4, Dante has a pretty complete set of moves for the Rebellion. In fact, I think personally I use the Rebellion the most because it's pretty fast, does decent damage. You can make it do a lot of damage if you know what you're doing, and it's just to me it's the most accessible weapon compared to the other two. The other two feel really situation specific, and that's the reason why I tend not to use those weapons unless it's a part of a combo that I usually start up with Rebellion. So with Rebellion, you have your basic 3-hit combo. They just call it Rebellion Combo A. This is what you're gonna get if you're a button masher, because if you keep mashing on triangle, the game's only gonna reward you by letting you hit with this. This combo is pretty decent. It does okay damage, but again, you're not gonna get anywhere. At least you're not gonna get better at the game if you keep button mashing this combo. All parts of the combo are cancelable. So you can do stuff like, or 1, 2, and then jump, or 1, 2, and cancel to your style attack, stuff like that. It builds okay double trigger meter. Let me turn this off. Wait, did I double trigger? Oh, sorry. There we go. There. Look at the bar. So you gain maybe 1/3 or 1/4 of the double trigger bar for each 3 Rebellion combo that you hit with. The other combo that I use, and I like to use it more because it's a good hit confirm. A hit confirm is actually a fighting game term where you use a particular attack that's pretty fast, but slow enough for you to be able to confirm it with your eyes that it connected. The reason why I consider this attack a hit confirm is because of the way it's executed. You press triangle, wait a little bit, press triangle again, and then press triangle a 3rd time, and then you end up doing the million stab in the middle of it, and at the end of it. And while you're doing this million stab, you can say, hey, I want to switch to another combo. Oh, well, during the million stab, sorry, you can jump out of it and do a follow-up hit like that. Generally, like all his other, like his main combo, you can jump out any part of it, even the million stab part. I'm not sure if in Devil May Cry 3 if the million stab part was cancelable. Anyone who played that game, feel free to let me know. But Very useful. Like this, because you can use it to clear out, to do damage to a huge group of monsters in front of you. On top of that, I believe that they actually made the mashing part a little bit easier to do. I know that it's easier to do if you have S rank style meter, but let me try to get hit. There we go. But I think it actually requires a lot less button pressing to do it compared to Devil May Cry 3. I've hurt my wrist doing a lot of those crazy combos with Devil May Cry 3. And yeah, and this is this is considered a crazy combo in Devil May Cry 3, because a crazy combo in Devil May Cry 3 is any combo that requires you to just repeatedly mash a button to do more damage or do more hits. Okay, his next move that I would like to go over is a Stinger. If you have the Stinger level 2 ability equipped or bot, you can do Stinger from a really long distance. If you watch my video, I use this to cover long distances as a means of transportation to get from point A to point B. But also at the same time to cover myself in front of me, because I have other means of transportation if I want to get there, like with the air trick and the Sky Star. But for the Stinger, you generally want to use it as either an opening move or an ending move. So you can go 1, 2, 3, and then Stinger. That's a decent combo. And this thing does okay damage, but its main utility is just to knock a monster down. And some monsters are kind of knockdown resistant, so you'll want to use the Stinger maybe a couple times on them, or use some other move that knocks them down, like a shotgun blast. Also, one change that they made to the Stinger in Devil May Cry 4, the Stinger can be chained into itself. You can cancel the ending recovery of the Stinger into itself to perform another Stinger. Like this. This is very, very useful if you're just trying to get to a monster that you knocked away in a really, really quick manner, but also to be able to do a little bit of follow-up damage in the process. Also, you may have noticed that if you screw up the Stinger, you may end up getting this, the Midland Stab. They changed the way the Midland Stab was executed versus Devil May Cry 3. In Devil May Cry 3, if you want to do the Midland Stab, you do the Stinger. You do the Stinger, and after it hits, you mash triangle. That's not the case. In this game, they made the execution for the Midland Stabs a little bit easier. And not to say it's casual friendly, but it's just less of a pain in the ass because you don't have to mash triangle as much. And execution for it is you hold R1, and then you do the Stinger, but you let go of the analog stick halfway through it, and you go straight into the Midland Stab. And what's great about the Midland Stab is you can even cancel that part and just keep doing it repeatedly if you wanted to. So now you have, not now, but you have two means of doing the Midland Stab, and in this game they made it much more easier to get access to that Midland Stab to do your combos. And trust me, some Devil May Cry 3 veterans may complain that they made certain things easier to execute. The main reason why he did that is because there's all this other stuff that you gotta worry about in terms of execution. Being able to switch, like I said, being able to switch weapons, switch styles, jump cancel, so on and so forth. But that's not the main focus of this part of the tutorial. So I'll move on. Another really useful thing that is a classic is his Helmbreaker. This thing. It's usually used as a finisher for a combo. Something basic like you launch the guy up, do your air combo, and then finish with your Helmbreaker. And you can do really fancy things like let me see if I can do it like that, where you can just keep doing the Humbreaker repeatedly to troll them. Um, there's nothing really much to say about the Humbreaker. Really, it's just you just use it as the end of a combo. Use it if you want to knock someone down. You'll find that if when you fight the enemy Dante as either Dante in Bloody Palace or Dante in or Nero in the story mode, that he uses this a lot to try to knock you down. And of course he does, because it's really useful. This is your general purpose. Oh shit! I need to knock something down. Attack. I use this a lot when I'm in Dante Must Die mode fighting the Angelos, the called armor dudes. Mainly because it does it's a good way of just keeping the Angelos staggered, because they're, as I've told you before, they're pretty difficult to stagger. But other than that, yeah, it has a little bit of recovery at the end, but it can be jumped out of or cancelled out of. You can just cancel either into another move, or you can just jump right after that to get out of it. Whatever. That combo I just did is considered like it's something that Dante could do for quite a while. So just use the Helmbreaker to finish your combos, and as a means of kind of like a get off me move when you have a bunch of monsters around you. And also you can use it as a means of just getting to the ground as quickly as possible, because the normal jump falls at a certain rate, but if you use the Helmbreaker, it makes you land faster. So that might be kind of useful for certain combos that maybe you're doing in the corner where you want to get to the ground as quickly as possible before the enemy does. Next move is the round trip. Personally, I do not use this because of the fact that you have to press triangle while you're doing it. So, and you can use triangle again to get the sword back. But yeah, round trip throws Rebellion. It's done by pressing and holding triangle. It has a bit of startup. That's the problem with the move. So you have to do some sort of knockdown or knockback attack to combo into it, or just do something that keeps the monster staggered. One decent thing about the Rebellion, about the round trip, is that it hits monsters around it, not just the monster that it's aimed at. But I personally don't have the execution to start up the round trip in the middle of a combo, because what you need to be doing is holding triangle while doing something else. Do it. Kind of like with Nero, when you hold R1 to, or not R1, L1 to charge your gun while you're doing your attacks. Exact same thing. One thing about the round trip that I've noticed is that I've seen in a lot of Devil May Cry 4 combo videos is you can throw it out and then switch to another weapon and do something while the round trip is hitting them. But again, the only problem is I don't have the execution to hold triangle and do all this other stuff, set them up for the round trip, and then switch the weapon while the round trip is hitting. But if you guys can do it, then more power to you. You guys are better. That means you guys are better than me. But in practicality use, for people who are, you guys are trying to figure the game out and you guys want to get better at the game, don't sweat yourself over the round trip. There's a very specific time that where the round trip is useful, and it's for completing a certain secret stage. Look up my Devil May Cry 4 secret mission guide, and I'll show you. It'll show you where and when you use it. But basically, you use it to throw it at the statue that you're supposed to break, and then you run the other way and you break the other statue. But yeah, that's the round trip for you. Next is, I believe this is High Time. High Roller? High Time? I forgot the name of the move. Sorry about that. Anyway, you execute the move by pressing, holding R1 and pressing back and triangle. This is your standard launcher. If you just press back and triangle, it'll launch them up like this. And then if you want to follow them up, you're gonna have to jump manually and do something. If you want the game to do it for you, if you want the game to launch them for you, you press back and triangle and you hold it, and then you'll jump with the guy. Now, if you played fighting games before, you may be aware of aerial juggle combos. This is what this does. This is considered a launcher because it launches the guy up, and then you can follow up with whatever you want. That. It's pretty standard. Sometimes I do launchers just to move myself out of harm's way. Like if I'm in a bunch of monsters, I just launcher and then start jumping out of the way like this. The ground launcher. The ground launcher is considered a different attack from the follow-up, the one where you jump with the guy. But not in terms of the style meter. See the style meter go up, but if I try to do the launcher again, but do the one where it launches the guy up, it's considered something different. It's considered the same move. With Nero, it's a little bit different. I believe if you do the high roller, the regular version, if you do the level 1 high roller and you launch him up, but then you end up doing the level 1 high roller, but then you stay on the ground because they're two different moves. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, it's just a general purpose launcher. The recovery is pretty decent. Notice you can cancel out of it in the middle of it, like that. So you can do something else when you launch the guy pretty quickly. It's kind of nondescript. I can't think of anything really to say about it because it's a launcher. It's meant to knock the guy up, set you up for your air combo. This is one of the most integral parts of Devil May Cry 4 or the Devil May Cry series in general. It's in my opinion what makes Devil May Cry really that good, because you can do all sorts of crazy, stupid stuff in the air when you launch the guy up. Okay, I believe that's all the moves for Dante with this weapon. So I'm gonna move on to the next weapon. This is the Gilgamesh. This is a lot of Devil May Cry veterans will see this as kind of like a nerf version of the Beowulf. Again, the reason why I think this version is this weapon is considered nerf is because of the fact that if they gave Dante all the stuff that he had at the same speeds and properties as his Devil May Cry 3 version, he'll be a lot more broken than he already is. I'll say this up front. Dante right now in this state is really broken. A lot of Devil May Cry high level users will agree with me on this. Because of his versatility, he's just incredibly broken because of the crazy things he can do. So if they gave him like the Devil May Cry 3 properties for his Beowulf, for the Gilgamesh, yeah, it'll be really messed up. Anyway, let's go on and get this started. So the Gilgamesh has pretty standard two kind of really slow combos. Versus the combo A, 1, 2, 3, 4. You press triangle 4 times. Each hit is cancelable with a little bit of lag. It builds okay bar. I strongly recommend not doing the last hit unless you're absolutely sure it's gonna hit, because the last hit is just really slow. But Generally, you want to use the Gilgamesh in 1 versus 1 situations where you've isolated the enemy, so you knock a bunch of his friends back, and you just want to not take care of one guy. Because if you try to do it in a crowd of monsters, you're gonna get hit, or you're not. This thing is not meant for crowd control, at least in my opinion, unless you use some of his Swords Master attacks. But even then, just don't use it unless you're in a 1 versus 1 situation where you want to do as much damage as possible in a short amount of time. That's what the Gilgamesh is good at. So again, the entire combo builds OK meter. Looks like maybe about 3/4 of an orb. Okay, maybe 1/4 of an orb. So, like I said, generally use it when you isolate the enemy. Yeah, the second version of this combo called the Gilgamesh combo B. Whoa. Let me get you guys out of the way. Where you press triangle, triangle, you wait a little while, and then you press triangle. This version of the combo is a little bit better. You just have to be careful when you're doing that third hit, because that's when Dante's open. But the reason why I consider it better is because the ending hit isn't that laggy. One, two. It executes pretty quickly, as opposed to just the regular combo where you see that part where Dante keeps his leg up. You cannot cancel out of it. I'm mashing jump, but see, it won't let me get out of it. That's the part that really sucks for that combo. That's the reason why in most combo videos you generally see Dante using the other version of the combo just because it executes faster. And the last hit can do a little bit of crowd control. See? But again, if you're gonna be using if you're looking for crowd control, don't use Gilgamesh. That's the main thing. Okay, so now the next hit is Full House. I forgot the name of the move that Dante and Virgil had that allows him to that is the exact same thing as this, but compared to the Devil May Cry 3 version, it is slower. The cancel point is much later in the attack, and also it doesn't execute as fast. Notice there's a bit of a lag there, but it makes for an okay combo finisher. Whoa, like this. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to if you've already done the maybe like this, and you want to vary a little bit more, then use the Full House. Full House is executed by jumping and pressing triangle. Unless you also unless you have enemy step, you cannot cancel out of it. You're pretty much stuck with the move once you do it. In fighting game terms, this is called committing. I know you guys can make jokes about marriage and stuff like that, but basically what this means is that once you do it, there's no turning back. So be very careful about using this move. It's just like the Helmbreaker actually, because even though you can cancel out the ending animations of it, in the middle of it you can't do anything. You can only do something once it starts hitting. Same for the kick. Same for the Full House. So if you don't have enemy step, you're gonna be stuck like this, and then only when you land, you'll be able to cancel out the lag. And yes, compared to the Devil May Cry 3 version of this move, there's a little bit of landing lag at the end of it too. But on the flip side, this thing actually hits a lot harder than the Devil May Cry 3 version. And you can still kind of do that jump cancel thing. It's just a little bit harder because it's slower. Well, I mean, not harder, but it's not as effective because it's slower. But you know what I mean. So generally use this as a combo ender. It does okay. It does pretty decent damage. It does more damage than the Helmbreaker. But the only problem is, like as you can tell, it only staggers monsters. Unlike the Helmbreaker, which knocks them down. So take that into consideration, because some monsters like the Angelos don't like to get knocked down easily. Let's see. It like builds. Yeah, builds okay bar. Maybe like a fifth of the bar. Anyway, next is his draw. This I personally haven't found a really practical use for it. I've seen combo videos where people go like this to move around. I'm not that dexterous, so I'm not able to like just quickly switch to Gilgamesh and Trickster to do this. But I'm digressing. What draw is basically it's just a feint. You can just use it to dodge a move. So it's basically like it's something like jumping to get out of the way, because it has a little bit of invincibility at the start. Like that. And the follow-up move you saw where I punch it back is called the straight. So you just to do the draw, you hold R1, then you press back in triangle. If you just press back in triangle, it just does a dodge, which is okay. But if you want to do the follow-up punch, you press back in triangle and you hold triangle to punch it back. Personally, like I said, I don't find much utility in this move. I usually just use it if I'm trying to make a fancy looking combo. It just adds an extra hit. But one thing that I found about the straight that's pretty useful is that the hit that the straight does actually kind of hurts. So if you charge it up, which I'm going to be explaining later, because there's actually something kind of cool about the whole charging up thing that you guys may want to learn about. If you charge it up, it does this straight actually does a lot of damage. Anyway, yeah, generally you can just use it as like a utility move to get yourself out of a tight situation. If maybe you're in the middle of your Gilgamesh combo and a monster is about to hit you. Let me just start doing that. Oh crap! You use the invincibility frame from it to dodge out of the way. Okay, next move is the Kick 13. This move is kind of well, first of all, it's not very you can't cancel out of it when you execute it. So if you're the type of person to mash and you're just pressing forward and triangle while you're in Gilgamesh mode, you're gonna fuck yourself over, because I'm mashing triangle right now, and notice I can't get out of it. Whereas with other moves like the Stinger, you can usually jump out of it when you do it. But with the Kick 13, it's actually really risky. And if you guys seen my Devil May Cry or Devil Trigger tutorial, you'll notice that when you do the Kick 13 while on Devil Trigger mode, it's even longer. And in none of those hits can you get out of it. I'm mashing triangle right now. I can only get out of it once it does that launcher part of the kick. So be mindful. But again, it's actually pretty useful for other applications. This thing can be distorted, which I'm gonna explain to you guys later in the Dante tutorial in another video. But I generally use the kick 13 as kind of like an alternate launcher because of the last hit. You can follow up with something like this. But yeah, the problem with the kick 13 is that if it's done executing, it actually has you can cancel out of it. But in the middle of it, again, this is a move that makes you commit. This kind of follows the Gilgamesh's theme of being really slow but really hard hitting, because the kick 13 combo itself actually does decent damage. But outside of it, I mean, if you're trying to combo something and you're in a crowd, you're leaving yourself wide open if you do this. I mean, you see my vids where I've done it in a crowd, but you know what I mean. Like you want to make sure that stuff is around you is knocked down when you do this, because you want to make sure that all the hits hit, because you're kind of like risking it or committing, like I said, when you use that tap. But builds decent bar. Maybe looks like about 2 fifths of the bar. Oh, well, 1/4. Yeah, something like that. So, kick 13, use it. You can use that as part of a combo or as a finisher. Maybe you're using a regular 3 hitter and you just want to finish it with something that actually doesn't look that slow. You can go 1, 2, 3, and do the kick 13. Again, the kick 13 is done by holding R1, pressing forward and triangle. The next move he has is, it's not exactly a move, it's called the flush. It's a move that's just window dressing. And it's basically when you launch someone up, or when you're jumping around, this does damage. You notice how the monsters, you notice how it looks like something is hitting him? Yeah, it's basically you end up kicking while you're jumping. It's like a weird ass forward somersault. But it hardly staggers stuff, and it does very little damage in Dante Must Die mode. So just consider it something that's there, but you know, like don't factor it into it too much. Oh. I mean, it adds to the style meter, but yeah, it's. In fact, it actually. Oh, yeah, it builds bar actually pretty decently if you just spam it in front of a bunch of monsters. But again, not that practical. It's just to me, it's just something that's there, but you know, it's good to take note of, because sometimes you may end up like bringing a monster down to 1 health, and then you just end up jumping and you end up killing them because this thing actually does damage, just not that much. Okay, now before I proceed on to Lucifer, which is his third weapon, I want to show you something regarding his charged punches. Okay, so with Gilgamesh, if you hold the button down, you'll notice that you can charge your attacks. This is true for all of his attacks, including the attacks that I'm not going to mention yet that are in Swordsmaster mode. I need to clear these guys out of the way. You can charge them up. But if you screw up the charge, then you'll end up just making the attack slower. Sometimes it might be useful, like this. That's a good reason to charge, because then if you do it too early, you're gonna end up just punching right through them and missing them. But basically, what the charge does, it increases the damage of the attack. pretty obvious, right? And it has 3 levels. This is the first level, just regular hits. This is the second level, which does more damage, and then there's a third level, which does even more damage. Now, something I actually learned by myself. I know a lot of Devil May Cry 4, Devil May Cry veterans actually already knew about this because this was in Devil May Cry 3. But something I learned is there's these things called just frames when you do the charge up attacks. Oh. Now I'm gonna have to make myself invincible because I keep getting interrupted when I try to do these. Let's see. There's a way to make myself invincible. No damage. Was it no collision? Oh, well, not that. That's not it. Oh, there, invincible. Oh, frick. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing, that's debug mode. I have a video about it. I'm gonna make a new video because that video is out of date. I actually got a lot of questions like, how can you do this? Can you do this on the PS3? No, you can't. It's on the PC. But also debug mode lets me do a lot of things where like turn off the timer, give myself unlimited bar, stuff like that. Anyway, there's these things called just frames where if you attack right at the right spot, I mean if you time your attack just right, it'll not only do more damage, but it'll execute faster, build you Devil Trigger bar, and to do even more damage than if you were to just normally charge it. Like, see, like this. Like if you don't try to time anything. You'll actually do more damage when if you execute these just frames correctly. To do this, what you need to do is when you're charging, you'll notice that there's this little spark that happens to tell you that the next level is charged. If you release the button right when that spark happens, you execute a just frame attack. You'll know that you did that just frame correctly because there's going to be an even bigger spark that happens right after it. I know it's kind of hard to see. Like that. Oh. To tell you that you did it right. And these just frames can be done with almost any of his attacks. Like, let's see if you can do it with this one. This is a Source Master thing, but I'm just trying to prove a point. When you see that spark go off, it's very frame sensitive. This is fighting game territory here, folks. This is the reason why Capcom. This is the reason why Devil May Cry 4 or the Devil May Cry series is so good, because it's so technical. Anyway, if you see that spark, just let go of it at the right time, and what will happen is you'll do more damage. The move will execute faster, and then you'll gain more Devil Trigger bar. Let me burn some bar. Prove it. So see, if you just charge it, you'll do maybe about you'll gain maybe about 1/4 bar. But if you do it right, do the just frame correctly, you'll notice that you gain half a bar, and then you gain the normal amount that you normally gain doing the charged up attack. This can be done with all of his attacks. Like that. And yeah, that is what makes Gilgamesh so powerful, because if you use this charged up attack and you combine it with the ability to distort stuff, you can make stuff hurt really, really bad. That's the reason why a lot of people use the second combo. Because that hit, where he does the multiple kicks, hurts if you just frame it correctly. And this, I can't exactly give you a guide as to how it's done, but it's mostly you just look for a spark for each of your hits. And if you do it correctly, you'll see another spark come out. And it just takes a lot of practice. Just keep practicing if you can't do it. You can do it with all of his moves, including the ones, well, almost all of his moves in Swords Master. As long as it's chargeable, you can do it. And this basically makes him hurt really hard. You want to learn how to do this as soon as possible because it's really, in my opinion, it's really that useful. So, yeah, that's his just frames. Learn it, abuse it, because it's part of the game. Okay, his last melee weapon is Lucifer. Now, I'll personally say I do not use this weapon unless for very specific situations. Just like the Gilgamesh I only use it for certain things like killing blitzes, killing really slow monsters, and maybe to do a combo against one monster just to build meter really quickly. Lucifer, only time I really use it is against the Echidna, whatever, Echidna fight, where I just keep doing this to plant stuff on it because she's really hard to damage. Her more vulnerable part is where her face, where her torso is. So that's the reason why I end up using that, because it's just really easy to plant the needles in her and to do a lot of damage that way. But outside that, I've seen really great players use this for their combo videos. Now, like I said, I personally don't use it mainly because it just doesn't, for the amount of effort that you put into using this, using this weapon, it just doesn't output as much damage, and it has issues with. Well, the Rebellion. Well, the thing is, it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't do that much anything better that the Rebellion can't do, or the Gilgamesh can't do. The Gilgamesh is really good for 1 versus 1, doing a lot of damage in a short amount of time, sort of deal. And the Rebellion is just good overall because it's versatile and has all these different moves for different situations. The Lucifer is a specialist weapon, and I personally haven't figured out how to make it really work. But anyway, let me go over the styles the attacks you can use with these. Okay, first is the one that if you're new to the Devil May Cry series. Sorry about that. First is the one if you're new to the Devil May Cry series that you'll probably end up doing because it's the easiest one to do. Just smash triangle. The attacks, these Lucifer attacks link into itself repeatedly if you just keep mashing triangle. So it makes for an okay infinite combo, but again, the only problem is the range. The range of coverage is kind of it's not bad, but it's just weird. Oh, and obviously the feature about Lucifer is the ability to just stick pins that self-destruct after a while, like that. You can tell. But you guys already knew that. Yeah, this is not a combo that I would use that often, only because it doesn't build style mirror. It only builds mirror once the stuff starts exploding, but by the time that stuff starts exploding, it's just... See, your meter has already gone down if you do that. But it's a pretty effective way of planting needles into monsters. You set them up to blow them all up later. Yeah, but anyway, his next combo. Well, oh yeah. Regarding this, he's very easy to jump out of actually. As you can tell. So lag's not too bad for that combo. Okay, the next combo involves him. You press triangle, then you delay, and then you press triangle like this. It looks kind of, I don't know, kind of weird, but I really don't know what's the use for this one. Maybe I read the inputs wrong, but it just says to press triangle and delay. Now, what's kind of useful is the one that you can do after this one, which is press triangle, delay, press triangle, and then there's that delay where you notice how Dante kind of like bends forward and like spreads his arms out. Because that's the part for you to input the next triangle. And this one's kind of useful. Because this one is the one where he just plants multiple pins in you in a very short amount of time and then launches the guy. So, but the thing is, in this game, well, with the way the Lucifer works, the launch. Let me start the launch. It launches him far away, which is impractical for combos. I mean, there's ways to follow up the launch and keep hitting them, but it's not as easy as just using the Rebellion's launcher to follow up with your combo. So just be careful about that. So this is a okay way to build a little bit of style meter. To do the part where he launches the guy, you got to press triangle again. Personally, stop trying to time it. I actually kind of mashed triangle, and it still does the launcher. So yeah, there are points in this game where you end up mashing, not just for the crazy combos like these, but just because the game lets you do it. And well, like I said, in the end, the result is the same whether you mash it or you do it skillfully. So yeah, that makes me a fraud. If you guys ever played, if you guys are into the fighting game scene, you know, like there's a joke about certain players being fraud just to get beaten by other players. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm doing that lame ass joke. Anyway, the problem with this combo again is the execution. You have to delay the hits. So if you're trying to set it up, if a monster's behind you, they're gonna hit you out of this. Especially this part where you have to wait until Dante, you know, bends down to do the next hit. And then what's worse is, well, okay, I thought that part where you just keeps jamming needles into the guy was not cancelable out, but I was wrong. But yeah, you have to be really careful about the setup for that combo because of the fact that you have to delay it, and the delay is really long compared to a lot of his other stuff. Okay, jump cut. Sorry about that. The capture software didn't tell me that I was running out of space. I had to use it. I had to point it to another hard drive. Okay. Anyway, regarding the next combo, I actually was all the way up to the final Lucifer combo, but now I have to go back. The next Lucifer combo is triangle, triangle, delay, press triangle. I generally don't use this because the point of this combo is to actually cover your back, but when he plants those needles behind him, it actually doesn't knock them down, or it doesn't stagger them. So even if you plant needles behind you, they're still gonna attack you and hit you. So not too much utility for the combo. I wouldn't use it. It just doesn't seem like it would be useful for crowd control. And that's actually one of Dante's weaker aspects. He has crowd control ability, but not to the same point as Nero does. But then again, I consider Nero kind of, well, he's good for figuring out the game, and then he's kind of on the easy side in my opinion, kind of easy mode. But then again, that's the whole point of Nero. He's there to introduce you to the game, and then the game then throws Dante at you and goes, "Hey, here, figure the real man out." Anyway, generally, yeah, for that, I wouldn't use it. It's just, then again, most of his other stuff is kind of impractical, in my opinion. I mean, but let me get to the final combo because this is the combo that I actually use. It's done by pressing triangle, 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 triangle. So 4 triangles, a small delay, and then pressing triangle, and then pressing triangle again for the launcher. So this is how it's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, delay, triangle, and then mash the final hit of the triangle to get that launcher part. This part is really good because well, it's good and bad because of the launcher part, because that part will knock the guy away, but sometimes you might not want that. Because then you're gonna have to chase after him and follow up with something. So this is kind of useful in the corner. Oh, missed it. Oh, let me try to see if we can knock him into a corner. See, because then you can easily follow up with something. But yeah, this is the only combo I use when I switch to Lucifer. If you've seen my videos, because of the fact that the combos nicely into itself, and then does a little juggle thingy at the end to knock them away, so that I can concentrate on something else. So yeah, let me see how much bar it builds. Oh. Okay, move stuff away. Yeah, so it builds maybe one third bar. So it's pretty decent. Nice combo filler, I guess is the best way to put it, because I normally use it in the middle of something like just to add more meat to my combos. I guess is the best way to put it. Anyway, yeah, that and the first one are the only two that I actually use. Because they're the only ones that, in my opinion, are nice and comboable. Also, notice the launcher thing. He has it in his triangle delay, triangle delay, triangle combo, but you can only execute the launcher thing much later in the combo versus the 4-hitter, which in my opinion is much better to hit with. So yeah, that's something to think about. Okay, special moves that he has. Let's see. One is his air triangle. It's called the splash. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's an air melee attack that staggers the monster, which is actually pretty useful. And it has a nice arc to it that allows you to kind of hit confirm and follow up with other attacks while you're doing it. And in my opinion, it's actually a pretty effective way to plant pins, because you're in the air and it does all the hits for you. Oh, this is actually going to be kind of fun. Anyway, great to use as a combo filler. Very, 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 very effective against Echidna because of the fact that she stays in the air. So you're gonna have to keep doing this anyway. In my opinion, much more effective than having to use, Dark Slayer or Rebellion to hit her. But yeah, great combo filler. You are committed when you do it. Notice how I'm mashing jump, I can't jump out of it. So be careful about that. But yeah, good to use for combos. Okay. Next move is actually, this is very essential for you to make Lucifer work. So after you're done planting pins in the guy, And say like you don't want to wait for for it to tick down for the pins to explode. You can make them all explode at once by pressing back, holding R1 and pressing back in triangle. This causes the pins to start exploding. So you can do something like, and this can also be done in midair. So you can do something like, launch the guy and then see like that. You can basically it's a quick and easy way to just get the pins to start exploding. This is great if you you do it on a boss and you want to try to do as much damage as possible in a short amount of time to try to stagger them as quickly as possible. Because with the boss, you just try to plant as many pins as you can, and then you press back in triangle, and then you do the damage. So yeah, keep that in mind. Another thing about the Rose is it's a launcher. It doesn't launch big things. It's really bad at launch big things, and it hardly staggers big things. So if you use this on something like a Bianco Angelo, yeah, you're not gonna get anywhere with it. But you can use it on small stuff. So you can do stuff like, and then launch them again, and then follow up. And because this can be used in midair, it can actually be used to make the guy go higher. It's kind of hard actually. Wait, let me try this. Launcher, and then oh. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, like that. There you go. So, because the rolls comes out kind of slow, you're gonna have to make sure you do stuff that makes Dante either fall faster or the monster to fall slower. But yeah, a lot of really good Devil May Cry 4 combo videos using the Lucifer use this a lot to relaunch the guy. It looks pretty stupid, but hey, this is Devil May Cry for you, man. Oh, excuse me. His next move and his final move, which is in my opinion one of the more important ones because I use it against Keirnoth and I use it in some situations, is Keirnoth, which just it's needle spam. It's done by holding R1 and pressing forward in triangle, and it plants 5 needles in front of you. If you do it against a monster that's really big, then all the needles will end up planting in them. Someone like Keirnoth, and it's a really quick, fast way to get as many needles as possible into the enemy. Like this, and it's really easy to do. This is a very spammable move. The reason why I'm actually keeping my spam points up is because every time you plant 5 needles, there's a limit to the number of needles that can be on the screen. If you try to plant more needles than what the game allows, the game ends up designating the oldest needles that were planted, which makes this really effective because this thing plants 5 needles at once. I forgot what the physical limit was. I think it was like 10, 15 needles. But anyway, yeah, doing this repeatedly is a really good way to get needles on the screen. And of course, if you double trigger, it plants 10 needles at once, which is very effective. Excuse me. And that's pretty much it for Lucifer. So yeah, Lucifer, in my opinion, it's a utility. It's a utility weapon, not that useful. Great for combo videos, and I think I personally think for practical use, it's not that good. But if you're able to master it, I bet you can use it a lot to make your combos longer and much better looking. Hey everyone, sorry for the jump cut. I realized after I recorded my footage for the weapon and the gun tutorial that it would actually end up taking a total of maybe an hour and a half for someone to get through the entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away the gun section from the weapon section. The weapon section is what you just viewed now. Thank you very much for bearing with me. Hopefully you guys learned something. And the gun section is going to be uploaded tomorrow. The reason why it's going to be uploaded tomorrow is because my upload bandwidth is kind of crappy. So usually I end up saying these kind of big uploads to upload overnight while I'm sleeping, so that it doesn't disrupt my internet connection. So, if you have any questions regarding this video or my other my gun video, please don't um, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, or you can PM me. Please watch the Devil May Cry 4 part 1 tutorial video first before PMing me, because I might have already answered one of your questions in there. Alright? Anyway, we'll see you guys next time, and please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll take care. Thank you.